Well, I imagine, just to refresh everyone's mind, Guardian asked the guards why he was hearing screaming during the battle, and he was informed that people were hiding in their homes instead of the catacombs like they originally had planned. So
Guardian, you
he was going to find out why.
No, no. You, I had to. Rorgar had told you what the bishop, what the bishop had done.
That is true.
and Guardian has just stormed off. It's Sheriff Southwell who was injured in the battle. He's got like his right arm in a sling, and it's got all bandage and everything. And he says, "Uh, your friend took off in a hurry. Where is he going?"
I believe he has some business with the bishop. But sheriff, could you take me to find Speaker Shane?
Of
Of
course.
course.
I saw her around here somewhere.
Laja, you may want to make sure our friend does not do something crazy.
Oh, oh, of course. And Aja will head off after Guardian.
I think that kind of leaves you all by yourself, Varian.
I'm just gonna follow Rorgar here.
Okay. So we'll catch up to Guardian and Laja in just a second. But after some time, Viren and Rorgar, you follow the sheriff as he leads you through town, and you can tell for the northern part of town, that was the part that was virtually destroyed by the dragon. But for the rest of town, the southern part was largely untouched. And you notice people starting to emerge from their homes, gathering, their friends and stuff, and just surveying the damage. And those that were lucky to be in that part of town really didn't have much to worry about. But as you're moving your way through, Southwell says, "This is going to be a problem, I know. Most of these people are from Targos."
I think there are places where we can send people. We have driven the evil out of Battlehammer Hold. Goodmead could probably take a few people.
Yes, there's considerable damage to the northern part of town, especially the wall. We'll have to work on getting that back as soon as we can. Oh, there she is. And he points down to the end of the street, and there is Shane. She's coordinating a group of people, telling them where to go. And as she turns to walk to you all, you notice that she's got a dagger at her belt. It looks like it's very easy, or very easy for her to reach. But she notices the group of you, and she turns and walks towards you.
Speaker Shane, it is good to see you in good health.
Yes, you as well. I heard you brought down the dragon.
Yes, with the help of your town guard.
And the sheriff says, well, I'd like to say we were effective, but that wouldn't be very true. It was mostly the brave paladin here and his companions who did most of the work, and of course their dragon.
Well, Speaker, I just wanted to come see you because before our fight, we were warned that the Speaker of Targos may have ill intentions for you, and we were warned that we should not leave you alone.
Thank you. I certainly won't turn down any protection if you have it. I have already been in touch with the speaker. Well, it seems as though he's rallied from this whole situation rather quickly, and he wants to meet very soon to talk about next steps for his people.
Also, you might, it may be important for us to go to see the bishop. Our friend Guardian had some words to exchange with him, and I'm afraid that situation may become violent.
And Southwell perks up, and he says, "Oh, really? Well, I better get down there." And he turns and he starts heading very quickly towards the chapel. And as he does that, he motions to more guards to follow him.
Speaker, is there any way I can help in this moment?
I don't know. I think the best you can do now is just rest and recover. There will be difficult times ahead for certain. The destruction the dragon left in its wake is, well, it's a little hard to imagine, especially, well, now we also have to deal with the wounded. I've led a task of guards, I've at least ordered them to go and see if they can find any survivors in the wreckage. It's possible the dragon didn't kill everyone, that some of the buildings came down and people were able to hide or retreat in some of the basements that were there in a few of the houses, so it's not all lost yet. But we'll have quite a bit of cleanup to do, not to mention what to do with the people from Targos.
If you can spare anyone, you may want to send people to Bremen, and I think it was Lonelywood.
Lonelywood was where y'all came from. You kind of knew the conditions of Lonelywood. You actually fought off the dragon from destroying the town.
There may be injured people in, especially in Bremen. If you can spare anyone.
That's a great idea. I'll see if I can find a scout to check out Targos and Bremen. Our last report was that the town of Bremen was destroyed and Targos, well, it was in progress.
Virian, is there anything you'd like to do?
I think I'm going to go check on the townspeople and just make sure I can help out in any way possible. Just to make sure if there's anyone that needs help, I can get a hand in there. Bavarian is just gonna scour around, pretending he's helping people, and see if he can find Beldora.
You're such a kind person, Virian. I will
Thank
help
you.
as well. You take that side, I take this side. And Rogar will actually try to pull people out of buildings and direct people in the right direction.
Yeah, Virian's just gonna walk by injured people on the ground and tussle their hair and say, "You okay, champ?"
A classic way of getting people back on their feet. What do you want to do with Suzanne?
I think Rogar tells Suzanne to stay with Speaker Shane, just in case anything happens. Protect Speaker Shane.
As Suzanne follows Shane around, anyone that's on the street as she's walking down the street with the dragon behind her, immediately they all run into their houses and give Suzanne a very wide path as she walks by.
Friends, don't worry. She's a friendly dragon.
But we'll cut over to the chapel. Guardian, as you approach the Church of Lathander, the Temple of Lathander, you notice that there's no damage to it where it was positioned, actually. If the battle had gone on, if the dragon had been in the air just a little bit longer, it would have made its way to that part of the city and probably destroyed it, but it actually did not reach the temple, so it's mostly untouched. As you walk in, you see the old bishop at the far end of the chapel, the large hall, and just as before, it's, many candles are lit, there's a lot of sunlight, even though it's about 1 o'clock now, there's still not much light outside, but somehow most of that light has been brought into the chapel, and it's very bright. But he kind of turns as you walk in, and he says, "Oh, hello, my son. Welcome to the Temple of Lathander."
Bishop.
Have you come for a
Did
blessing?
of sorts. Did a dwarf and a dragonborn visit you earlier?
I don't recall seeing anyone like that.
You had no one asking to use the catacombs for the civilians?
Catacombs. The catacombs are where we keep some of our holy relics. Not a place for people.
I
It's
didn't ask
dusty
what
and
the
dark
fuck
and
the
cold.
catacombs were holding. I asked if someone came in asking to use them for the civilians for protection against the attack.
Attack?
He's just going to get closer.
I don't know what you mean. Are you here for a blessing?
Yeah, he's just going to get it right up in front of him. He's just going to let that chain hit the floor and let it ignite. He's like, come with me.
Bishop kind of takes a step back, and as you're this close to him, you can tell there's a. He looks like he's not bathed in quite a long time.
Yeah, I'm just going to grab him by the chest, like all the clothing, the robes, whatever. I'm just going to grab it, twist my hand, and pull him. And I'm going to walk him outside.
As you're walking about halfway down the hall, that's when I'll throw in Laja. Laja, you see Guardian dragging the bishop down the hall, and Guardian's chain, it's kind of unwrapped itself partially, so that it's dragging on the ground, and like small cinders are rising up where it's scratching the floor.
Laja is going to enter the building, see what's going on, and run over to Guardian and grab probably the arm that has the chain and say, Guardian, what are you doing? What are you doing here with him?
Apparently, he has no idea what happened outside, so I'm going to educate him.
You can, lead him somewhere normally if you want to show him what happened outside. I don't
No, I'm going to take him to
understand
see
what
the
this.
broken bodies, the weeping children, and the mourning parents. He's going to see them.
And the bishop looks down to you, Laja, and he says, hello, child. Are you here for a blessing?
I spoke to you just a little while ago. Do you not recognize me?
And he looks at you again. Are you a follower of Lathander?
Do I notice anything weird about his disposition, like compared to before? Can I tell if he's just messing with me?
Let me look at your character sheet, because that's what I do every time.
Go for it.
Trying to think about what would apply here. Give me a medicine check. He's got all the signs of someone that either has some sort of disability or is senile or perhaps all of the above. Like, as you've gotten closer, because Guardian's dragging him, you notice that he's not taking care of his hygiene very much. His clothes are, they're very expensive. Like, he's wearing like very expensive rings and fine, clothing, but it's not cleaned or anything. It's got stains and stuff. There's bits of food like caught in his beard. And when he looks at you, you don't see any kind of recognition, which before your exchange, like, he was very, very direct with you, which he doesn't seem to recognize you at all.
Guardian, I don't even know if he understands what's going on right now.
That's why I'm taking him outside to educate him.
That's not what I mean. I was here earlier with Rorgar, and we almost got in a fight, to be honest, and I don't know why he wouldn't recognize me when I come back. I don't know if he really understands what's going on. I think he's sick.
Guardian pulls him up just to hold him in front of his face, and he looks at him for a moment. Would you allow people to use the catacombs as refuge in case of a dragon attack upon this village?
And his eyes look back and forth at the two of you very quickly, and he says, but the catacombs are where the relics are stored. It is not a place for commoners. It must be protected. Dragon? Are you here for a blessing?
He just looks down at Laja. Even in his state, he would still refuse.
I don't know what bringing him out there will necessarily do. If he is in the state, then perhaps we should arrange for him not to be in a position of power anymore. But I I'm not sure what else to do otherwise. Even if you do show him what happened, I don't know if it is going to make a long-term impact on his actions.
I have an idea in mind that'll be a long-term impact till the end of his life, however short it may be.
I feel like that will probably cause more problems than anything else.
You've been the smart one in the group. He looks at you for a second as he looks back to the old man and he just tightens his grip. He's like, "Aye." And he doesn't let go of him. He throws the guy to the ground and then just starts walking out.
So as the old man falls to the ground, he looks around, very puzzled, Laja, and he says, Loriah? Loriah? Is it time for dinner?
I'm going to just gently help him up as Guardian leaves and say, what am I going to say? I'll I'll meet you later. Just go continue doing what you were doing.
Yes, yes. If you come back, perhaps I can give you a blessing.
Thank you.
The Guardian stops for a
And I'm gonna
second,
leave.
but doesn't turn around and heads on out.
As you walk outside, Guardian, uh, right outside is the sheriff, Sheriff Southwell, and he has a group of about 5 guards with him. And he stops as you kind of meet halfway. You know, as you walk out the door, and he was getting close to the door, and you both stop, and he looks at you and he says, "Sir, I'm not going to walk in there and find anything, am I?"
You have no idea how badly I wish you would. The
And
senile fool is still alive.
indeed, the bishop is a little eccentric. I don't know that he deserves any kind of harm.
Tell
I
that
would
to
say
the
at this
children
point,
that lost their parents, and the parents that have to bury their young.
I think that's the fault of the dragon, not this poor old man.
Yet he refused to aid in allowing the catacombs to be used. He had the ability to help, and he did not. And you had the ability to make it happen too, and you did not.
He kind of steps back and he says, I'd ask you, sir, who are you to judge the actions of me and my people?
He just looks at him for a second like, one of the 4 fuckers who killed a dragon in this fucking town.
And he says, I won't downplay your contribution to that effort. You were quite heroic. However, we have laws here in this city, and you will abide by them, or you will find yourself outside of it.
I think we saved the wrong town.
Guardian, please. And then she'll turn to Sheriff Southwell and say, all we had was a conversation. As angry as he is, I would not have let him do anything that would have gone against what, this town stands for. So I'm sorry to have worried you so much. But we can continue working on making sure that everybody is okay and working on the cleanup of the town and go from there.
He looks back at you, Guardian, and he says, "You've only just arrived to Bryn Shander. I've lived here my whole life. The people you talk about are my friends, my neighbors, my family that have died."
Doesn't seem to bother you much. What's the saying? May the Frost Maiden take you.
He kind of straightens himself again, and you notice his left hand, his right hand still has a sling on it, but his left hand is rested on his sword. And he says, "In the temple of Lathander, I'll let that curse go. I believe Lathander watches over all of us even now. However, the warm welcome that we've given to you and your friends, I wouldn't strain it if I were you."
I appreciate the understanding, and I'm sorry for the trouble that we've caused.
He looks to you, Elijah. "These are difficult times. I can appreciate the stress it has caused on everyone." He looks to Guardian. "So I will leave your companion in your care, Priestess of Lathander. But just remember, as I said before, we are a town of laws. It's the only thing that keeps us safe from the creatures outside of our walls, is that everyone knows if they break the law, there's a swift punishment. Now, I appreciate everything that your friends have done for this town, but I can only look away so much."
Of course, I understand completely.
Now, unfortunately, the inn in town, at least the most popular inn, was destroyed by the dragon, but I have arranged accommodations for you and your friends at the Right Hook. It is a tavern of modest comforts near the south part of town. The innkeeper there is a acquaintance. He has agreed to put you up there as long as you'd like. Food and drink, of course, will be at a discounted rate.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Do you have directions towards there?
Yes, and he pulls out a map from his belt and shows you.
Great, then I suppose that is where you'll be able to find us if you need us for anything else.
Very well. This has been a difficult day for everyone. I hope you find some rest there, and if there's anything you need, also look me up."
Of course, thank you.
The sheriff gives you another glance, Guardian, and he walks away and motions for his men to follow.
As we start walking, I'm gonna speak to Guardian. Not too loud, but Guardian, we need to at least begin to get along with some of the people in these towns. I know that, you know, occasionally we will end up in situations that are less than ideal, but if we are going to continue traveling in this area, we can't keep making enemies in each place that we end up, or we just won't we won't have anybody left to go to if we end up in trouble.
As he's walking with you, he's just watching the people go around, and he looks down to you for a second. Like, "Sorry, were you saying something? I was imagining 7 different ways of beheading and disemboweling that guard."
That guard is just doing his job.
And he's failing at it.
He's doing the best he can under the circumstances.
The best he could have done was to get people into those catacombs.
Well,
I'm gonna go help dig out bodies from the rebel. I'll give you a count when I'm done. And he's gonna veer off to the damage attack section.
great, then I will head off to the inn at least and arrange for us all to have accommodations.
Okay. And with that, we will cut back to Rorgar in Virion. So you've made your way through some of the damaged part of town, and you can tell that the damage caused by the dragon was pretty substantial. Like most of the buildings that it hit with its weapon were just obliterated and collapsed on themselves. As you're walking around, many of the guards are helping. Some other workers, it's really hard to tell who's who, and all their furs are pulling away some of the debris and stuff and finding people. And they have responded early enough that a lot of people that have been injured are able to be, treated. Of course, there are a lot of casualties, and like the guards are separating those from the rubble and stuff. As the two of you take a turn down a side alley, you notice three guys that are wearing furs that kind of, as you walk down the alley, approach you from behind. They sort of wait you to turn down it, and they start following you.
Roger, I think we're being followed here.
Oh, Rogar will immediately turn around and just shout, "Friends, what can we do for you?"
And one of the guys steps forward. He goes, "Hey, you? You look lost."
No, we are actually just looking for ways to help after this town has been attacked
Oh,
by
I
a
see.
dragon.
Well, what you don't seem to understand here is that if you're lost, we happen to have directions. We can help you get back on your way to help these poor people.
It's fine. Actually, I'm not sure if you've heard, but you're looking at two of the people that killed the dragon and saved this town.
Oh, really? And he looks back to one of his companions. Bertrude, I thought you're the one that killed the dragon. And then Bertrude laughs. Oh, yep, it was me. I killed the dragon.
That wasn't funny. I didn't see you out there manning the ballistas. Were you cowering somewhere in one of these homes that fell apart?
And the head guy in the front says, well, my friends, like I said, you seem to be in a part of town that perhaps is not where you wanted to be. You look like the heroic types. Let's say we give you some directions and you can find your way back.
I want to do something so bad, but I'm trying not to murder people.
We have a theme today.
What are your names? You three.
Well, my name is Carl.
Are you all named Carl? Just you?
I'm Carl, that one. He points to his friend. His name is Bertrude. And he points the guy back. And that guy's name is Brad.
Brad is a very silly name. Carl, Bertrude, Brad, we are not in the mood for any shenanigans. Please just leave us alone. If you wish to insist on this conversation, there will be trouble. And Rogar will actually pull out his battle axe and shield. We do not have time for this.
Wow, my friend, that's too bad, you see. Because we're part of the Brinshander militia, and that weapon you're carrying, you don't exactly have a permit for it, do you?
Well, we don't have permits to gut you in the streets, but I'll make all the applications after it's done, and I'm pretty sure, because we're friends with the speaker, the application's going to go through no questions asked.
Friends with the speaker. Well, speaker for now, that is. She won't be. He looks to his friend and they all laugh. Not for much longer.
Did you know that there is a dragon personally bodyguarding the speaker at this moment?
Oh, no one's gonna hurt her. You haven't heard about the election, have you?
We don't have time for this. Leave or fight.
And Brad the back says, "Hey, friend, I'd really like that battle axe you're carrying."
Then come and take it.
And I think we will go right into initiative. One moment. Let me clear this. This is from last time. All right, go for it, everybody.
Yes. There's Rorgar.
We'll say the tie will go to Rorgar.
Okay. I guess Rorgar will just charge at the closest guy here. Carl, I believe.
Carl, yeah. I'm feeling really creative today, Carl.
And he's not holding back. He's pissed that these people are getting in the way of him saving lives. So he's going to just charge and swing away.
Nine will not hit.
And I'll go with the second attack.
A 21 will, though. And you notice when you attack Carl, he's wearing furs, as you know everyone does. But when you strike his furs, you notice he's actually wearing armor underneath, which was a little strange. You know, you'd expect like just a common thug, you know, just some ruffian guy to not be wearing expensive armor, but Carl is. Now they have names. Is that it for you, Rorgar?
That is it. I'll hold on to my one spell slot.
Okay. So moving on to Brad, he actually raises a heavy crossbow from the back, and he takes a shot at you, Rorgar. He fires twice. 13 and a 16.
No.
Both of those shots land right past you. And we move on to Carl. Carl draws a mace from at his belt, and he swings at you twice, Rorgar. 13 and a 22.
22 will hit.
That's 5 bludgeoning. That takes us to Virion.
Virion is going to knock an arrow and take a shot at Carl.
26 will do.
Perfect. 9, and take another shot right at Carl again.
12 will miss.
But on that first attempt, the trusty penguins will jump up and start, I guess, biting the crotch of Carl this time.
Okay, so as the arrow hits him and the penguins attack, Carl's like in shock. You know, he swipes back and forth at the penguins as they make attacks at his crotch level, and he looks down, he swings at them, but the damage has been done. The Bertrude moves up to beside Carl, and you notice as Bertrude moves closer to Carl, the two kind of fall into almost a trained formation, like they have practiced this sort of thing before. Like Bertrude kind of starts circling around Rorgar, circling around you, Rorgar, to try to help Carl get a better position. Basically equates to both of them having advantage on attacks against you, Rorgar. And Bertrude swings a mace at you as Carl distracts you. A 10 and a 22.
22 will hit.
That's 5 more bludgeoning. But that takes us back at the top the next round to Rorgar.
Rorgar will just stand and he'll make a weapon attack against Carl and hopefully kill him.
Okay. 25 hits. Carl is still up, but that last strike was a pretty hard strike against him. But he and Bertrude are still working together to keep you off balance, Rogar.
Rorgar will attack again.
10 will not hit, though.
And then as a bonus action, Rorgar will cast Shield of Faith on himself.
Okay.
So now my AC goes up to 20.
Okay. Taking us up to Brad. Let's see, I think Brad's going to take another 2 shots at you, Varian, with his crossbow. Let's see, that 22, that was a crit. And then a 7, which I'm sure is a miss.
That is a miss.
So 10 piercing damage.
All right.
I'm so zoomed out that it looked like you only had 3 hit points left on my screen.
Oh.
So moving on to Carl. Carl is going to take a swing both times at you, Wargar. And again, he has advantage. 24, a crit. And a 24 again. I promise I did not make that up. So he had 2 crits. 20 bludgeoning damage.
I'm dead.
Oh boy. Takes us to Virion.
This might not go well. Okay. I guess I'm gonna try and finish off Carl with my first shot here. Ooh, and there's a crit.
That'll hit. Yep.
For 11 damage.
That is enough to take Carl down.
Perfect. And take my second shot at Bertrude there.
A 12 will not hit.
All right, and I am going to cower my way back over here. And I'll call that a turn.
So I think the order of events happened was that Carl struck Rorgar. Just as Rorgar fell down, you had a clear line of sight, Varian, and you shoot Carl like right in the neck, and he falls over dead. So we move on to Bertrude, who's seeing Carl fall. Since it is his turn, he retreats. And Brad, who is next after Rorgar, also retreats. Got just a little too real for them, and we're going to cut out of combat. But Varian, you notice that Rorgar is collapsed, and right in front of him is the dead body of Carl.
Can I make a death save?
Yeah, you can.
I was hoping for a hot 20.
I have a +1 to medicine. Should I attempt to stabilize you? What do you want to do here, Rorgar?
I'm not sure on the rules of it, so I don't know if you failing.
Oh, then you just die?
I'm not sure. Part of me thinks that if you fail the check, it's a failure on my side.
That's, yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
But if you're rolling with a +1, it means you're slightly more likely to succeed.
Yeah, I'd hate to be responsible for it. And you probably weigh way too much for Varian to pick you up and seek medical attention.
You can check Carl's pockets for a health potion.
I will loot Carl's corpse. Absolutely.
So as your friend is bleeding out beside you and you're looting Carl, you do notice that there's not much in Carl's pockets apart from like his mace, which, you know, you could take if you want. He does have 10 gold in his pocket, and he does have one large coin that looks like it might be platinum. It's really hard to tell what kind of metal it is, but engraved in the coin is a snake, and the snake has wings.
I take all the coins and put it in Rorgar's pack, and I'll just whisper in his ear, if you're going to be unconscious, at least you'll be wealthy while you're doing so. And then I'm going to run out into the square and see if I can find someone who can help Rorgar come back to life.
And I think, Guardian, as you're walking around to see if there's a way to help folks, this is when you hear Virion calling for help. And this comes from a side street, maybe like 1 or 2 streets away. You hear Virion calling for help.
Help my friend. He's very sick.
Do I recognize it's Virion?
Yeah, I think you do.
Yeah, Guardian will go help. He just stops and just shakes his head and starts to run on over.
So I was just reading the rules. It's 1 check to stabilize someone. That 1 medicine check has to do a 10 or higher. But Guardian, as you've made your way to the street where you hear Virion calling, you see Rorgar collapsed on the ground, and there's a human body who has an arrow sticking out of his neck beside Rorgar.
Great, at least you gotta kill someone.
It was nice. Oh.
Pokes Virion with his boot. Then looks at Rorgar, pokes him with his mace or his hammer. He's like, well, what?
He got hit with a mace and he just collapsed. I've never seen anything like that happen before. I thought he could have taken this guy.
I'm gonna lean down and I'm going to attempt a medicine check.
Sure. Hey, 20. There you go. That'll stabilize him.
I imagine whatever injury or wound, I just take that chain and I slap it against it and just like hear it shut.
So it looks like you do remain unconscious with 0 hit points, Rorgar. You're just not dying.
Yeah.
Guardian, can you drag his corpse somewhere a little less outdoorsy?
Rogars? Yeah, sure, I can put him inside of one of these buildings. Starts to pick up Rogar. Or do you mean the other one?
I think Rorgar is fine. The other body kind of blends into the landscape here.
He just looks at you for a moment like, do you have a plan? Where's Laja? I thought she would have meet up with you guys.
We haven't seen her. Did she say where she was headed?
Just gotta think for a moment. It's like, some crappy inn.
I'm sure they're used to having passed out patrons in there. We can bring Rorgar in.
Great. Yeah, let's go.
So
yeah, he'll go to the path that he vaguely remembers.
I think you were there as the sheriff showed Laja where the inn was.
Yes, but in his mind, he was there flaying the sheriff to make him into a map.
Okay. Cool, cool, cool. So
You
Elijah,
gave me a cursed item.
no, it's fine.
Meanwhile, I'm, at the inn arranging for us all to have lodging, waiting for everybody to come back, assuming that Rorgar and Varian and Guardian are all gonna come.
Elijah, you find this inn that you were told about by the sheriff near the south part of town. There's actually a lot of people heading into this place. Apparently, that's the thing you do after a dragon destroys your city. You should go for a drink, and that's what apparently everyone's doing. This place is it's kind of a low building. It's only one floor, but it's a low but kind of extends back pretty far on the street. You hear quite a bit of noise coming from inside, and there's a sign hanging from a post that's swinging back and forth, and it's got a fist on it, and like carved in very crude letters of the words the right hook.
Well, this looks like the right place. And I'll enter the building.
Immediately when you enter, you see there's a bar ahead of you with a human bartender who's working the drinks and stuff, serving everyone. There are lots of folks here that are also taking most of the tables.
I think what I'll do is go up to the bar and speak to the owner.
The owner is making his way to you. He's got lots of people in front of you. When you turn to your right, and you see Siphon, the human who has kind of been in most of the 10 towns that you've been through. But he immediately notices you and pushes his way over to your side of the bar. He looks like he's got quite a bit of dirt and cinder, actually, and his hat is burnt back a little bit. And he says, Elijah, is that right?
Good to see you again.
Oh, man. Yeah, it is so good to see you, girl. I was really worried about that their dragon, but yeah, it's dead from what I was told.
Yeah, my party, helped out the garden, taking it down, and luckily, most of the city seems to have survived.
Oh, that's good. All your friends, did they all live?
Yes, I'm good to say that we all made it out in one piece.
Ah, well, that's always a good thing to hear. Lots of dead people and burning bodies and things going on these days, so it's good to hear when somebody, somebody makes it. That's good.
Hopefully you're doing okay.
Yes, yes, I am. Well, I imagine I'm gonna have quite a lot to do when we're rebuilding the town and all. Let's see, I've tried to expand my operations quite a bit from East Haven. If you recall, I'm a lumberjack.
Yep.
Of course, not used to all the dead blue light killing zombie things, killing folks. It's been quite a disturbing week.
I can imagine, but I mean, at least it seems like your business will be going well for the time being, and hopefully you won't have to worry too much about being out in the wilderness. Unless that's where you prefer to be. I'm not going to judge.
Huh. Well, there will be lots of work, that is for sure. My old pappy said that the only man who wasn't working was the only man who wasn't looking for a job.
I think that's a good phrase. I might have to remember it.
So, I gotta ask, what brings you to a place like this?
My group is gonna be getting some lodging here tonight.
Well, I was just saying, a classy girl like yourself, this place is kind of rough.
It's okay. I've been in all types of places, so I don't mind too much. Hopefully everybody here is pretty nice.
And the bartender finally makes his way over to you. He's wearing very lavish clothes with some very loud colors, and actually the jacket he's wearing is a bright purple with a huge fur collar. He's got a very well-kept mustache and slicked back hair that's starting to show some gray on the temples. But as he makes his way over to you, Laja, he has a giant smile on his face, and he says, "Oh, hello, a new friend. Welcome, welcome."
Hello. The guard told me that this would be the correct place to go for some lodging arrangements
Oh,
for
well,
me and my party.
we are actually all booked up, unfortunately, unless you had a previous reservation.
We should. At least that's what I was told. There should be 4 of us.
Oh, you are friends of the sheriff.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, well, of course, we do have the best rooms in all of Bryn Shander, and actually some of the last few beds in Bryn Shander, if you don't mind my inappropriate joke there.
Well, I'm glad to see that your business is going successfully today.
Oh, yes. Well, dark times make for thirsty customers.
I'm sure you are going to be plenty packed tonight.
He kind of leans back with a bigger smile. Yes, I hope so indeed. And if you stay here long enough, you're welcome to bet on one of the fights, or if you're brave enough, you could even take part in them if you'd like.
Oh, interesting. What do you guys have going on here?
Well, this place is called the Right Hook not just because it's a colorful name, but also describes our chief form of entertainment. And the way it works is you can find any of the pugilists through the other room, and he points behind him, and you actually can see behind him the bar has a large open area, and you see a number of people standing around an arena, it looks like. And he says, the way that it works is you make a wager with any one of the fighters you'd like, and if you beat him, then you take the pot. If you fail, well, then he takes the pot. It's pretty simple, huh?
Yeah, very. I'll definitely let my friends know when they get here, and perhaps, people might be interested in participating.
Of course, bets can be made on the side if you'd like. I don't typically partake in that. Everyone can do what they like. Of course, any information about fights and, we are strictly on the up and up here. No throwing a fight or falling to, win illegally or anything like that. This is a clean establishment, very fair here.
Absolutely. And do you happen to have food available here, or just any sort of, I assume you have refreshments, drinks, and such?
Of course, we have the finest food in all of Bryn Shander.
Great, good to know. I'm sure the others will be here soon, so I guess I'll see if I can find a table and maybe start with just an ale, I guess. Whatever you recommend.
Of course, I'll get you the finest that we have. Why don't you find yourself a table, and I'll get to you shortly.
Okay, so then Lasha's just gonna, wait for everybody to get here. We'll see how that goes.
And it's probably about that time, Laja, as you're making your way to your table, when you see the doors open and 3 very rough-looking people make their way in. You see Virion walks in first, and Guardian, I imagine, is probably carrying Rogar like a baby.
Oh yeah.
Lasha will get up and go over to the others. What happened? Is everything okay?
Rogar's seen better days.
What exactly do you mean by that?
Well, we got followed down an alley by some thugs, and they made some not so thinly veiled threats to us, and also to Speaker Shane. Generally, just some bad people lurking around.
But he's okay, right?
Oh, he's just he's just Napville.
Lasha's gonna look him over, and I have a spell slot left, so I'm gonna cast Cure Wounds.
And that's enough to bring you back up, Rogar. You come back conscious, and Guardian's holding you.
I immediately drop him.
As soon as Rorgar's eyes open, the first thing he does isn't say anything to anyone or like clock where he is. He's frantically looking for the holy symbol that's hanging around his neck. And as soon as he touches it, he breathes a deep sigh of relief and just presses it into his chest.
Virgar, I'm glad to see that you're okay. What exactly happened? Virian said a little, but I can't imagine that you're feeling okay right now.
And you see him clutching his holy symbol, and he says, I am okay. These people, they attacked us. As we were trying to help in the recovery of the city. And then he'll feel around, and when he feels his coin purse and feels that it has coins in it, he pulls it out and says, there has been some sort of miracle. Bahamut smiles. Bahamut has given me coins. And he'll look in. He'll pull out the platinum one with the snake head on it and kind of give it a weird side eye and look to Virian and Guardian. And I'm not sure what this is.
I
Maybe
mean,
someone in here, and then Virion will spot Scython and be like, "We should ask Scython. He knows everything. He's very wise."
Here, Virian, you take the coin. I need to take a sit down, and I need to rest for a moment.
I already claimed us a table. We do at least have lodging for the night, and I I think a discount on food and drink, which is not nothing.
Rogar just face plants on the table and immediately starts resting. Just for a moment.
And Virian, as you sit down next to Scython, you're kind of walking up behind him. He doesn't notice you yet. You notice that he's got a flask that he's drinking from. He's not actually drinking anything that the bartender's given him.
Scython, how the hell are you?
Hello, my friend. Sorry, you kind of caught me there a little unawares. How are you? I'm glad your friend told me that you survived the dragon. Always good to see people not dying.
Yeah, and we're very glad to see you not dying too. How did you make out with your lady in East Haven?
Oh, sir, I got to tell you, I got kind of dicey there after you and your friends left. What with the dragon and all, I'll have to go back and woo her some other day. I have to say, it got a little crazy in that town. I decided that the best thing to do would be to leave. So I made my way over to Goodmead, and then when I started to approach town, there was a whole band of orcs. So then I decided that I would head north to Bryn Shander, and then of course when I got there, there was a dragon. So it's been a little dicey for me the last few days.
Seems like trouble just kind of follows you wherever you're going, or is just ahead of you, it seems.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's like there's some higher entity controlling my destiny, taking me here from there to there. But I don't know, sir. I always seem to land on my feet.
Well, that's good enough.
Look-
Quick question for you, and Virion will pull out the coins. Like, have you ever seen an engraving or another coin like this in all your travels around towns?
He looks and he says, huh. Well, I've seen a symbol like that before, but I don't really know what it means. There was an inn over in Targos where a bunch of fellers had snakes like that with wings, but I don't quite recall. You know what? I do have a friend who I think could help you right away. Let me see if I can find her. Strange-looking lady. She has her own troubles, but she's as nice as she can be. And he leans over and says, "Hey, Beldora, come over here." And from a corner of the inn that you really didn't even see, walks over your friend Beldora.
Oh. Hello, Beldora, was it?
She kind of gives you a small grin and she says, "Yes, you must be one of the heroes who brought down the dragon."
Yeah. Me and a few of my friends were able to do that. I have a couple questions for you. Maybe we can, talk somewhere else that's a little more private.
And she
Guardian's
says,
gonna head back outside and start helping people.
that we can do that. And Scython, he kind of leans close to you, Viri, and he puts his arm around your shoulder and he says to Beldora, "Now this here, right here, this is a good pal of mine. He's a genuine hero of the 10 towns. So if you need anything, Beldora, this is your man."
Thank you, Scython. And Virion will
Elf.
kiss
Your elf.
Scython on the forehead and walk to a table.
And Beldora follows you. She takes a seat and she kind of leans in closer and she says, "I have seen that coin. That is a membership coin of the Zentarum."
So the Zentarums in town, we were accosted by a crew of them in an alley, and they actually made some threats to the speaker of this town here as well.
I can't say I'm too surprised about that, but there's a new development in that situation that you might want to be aware of. I believe we talked last time, but many of the people from Targos came into the southern part of town and took refuge there. I'd say actually most of the good half of the town were able to evacuate to Bryn Shander, along with Speaker Maxildanar of Targos. Well, I was worried that he would work to kill Speaker Shane and take control of Bryn Shander, but it appears as though he might actually be working the system in a way to achieve the same ends. He's called for an emergency election for the position of Speaker, and to be honest, with half of the population of Bryn Shander now from Targos, he has a very solid chance of winning.
I don't fully understand the complex laws of the 10 towns, but I feel like a speaker from another town calling an emergency election for a town that he's not even a representative from is a conflict of interest. Although, again, I don't know the laws fully, but there's no way this can go well.
Because of the attack on the dragon, I believe he evoked an emergency clause that allows for a snap election in the event of a crisis. Some of the rules that the 10 towns follow are quite crude, to say the least. Many of the inhabitants here came from the Ragged Glacier and from all over. Some of the rules are quite barbaric, but I think in this case, he's exploiting the rules and the situation to put himself in power, and to be honest, he has the law beside him here.
Well, we don't have time to go over any legal notes, unfortunately, if everything's going to be happening quick. Do we know when the election is set to take place?
Tomorrow morning, I believe. Actually, ballots are being passed out to the inhabitants of Targos, Bryn Shander, I should say, tonight. To be honest, I looked through the bylaws. The best situation that Shane has is to invoke one of the crudest laws that the 10 towns have, and that is a trial through combat. She could choose a champion to fight for her, and of course Maxildanar would have his own champion, and at the end, the winner, well, there'd be no election. The winner would be Speaker.
Oof. Well, that is also another risky outcome. Who do you have any inklings on who the speaker from Targos would pick as their champion if it did go that route?
I really have no idea. Maxildanar has a whole host of thugs and goons, and plenty of people, I'd say most of the people in the 10 towns owe him something. And also he has a reputation for being a very talented duelist himself, although I can't imagine he'd ever put himself at risk. But I can't imagine any situation that he's going to walk into where he isn't going to win in some way.
Seems like he stacked the deck for himself pretty good here.
That's how he operates.
All right. Well, I should talk this over with my group. Thank you for all the information, Beldora. If there's anything else you hear about, or if you get word of anything else that he's plotting, don't hesitate to come and find me.
And she nods. Absolutely. And also, I know that you have your own troubles in whatever has brought you to Icewind Dale, of course. But just consider this. If Maxwell Dinar takes Bryn Shander, if he becomes the speaker, he will be in control of the largest town in the 10 towns, with the largest militia and the largest, most well-trained army. He could cause a lot of problems for a lot of people.
Yeah, we have to find a way to put a stop to that. All right. Thank you so very much. And Virian will walk over to Scython, just not to arouse too much suspicion, give him another tender kiss on the forehead, and then head back to the table where Rorgar and Laj are.
So anyway, apparently they do like sort of a fight ring here, and that is what they do for fun in this place. I know none of us are feeling good, but that is kind of interesting, isn't it?
Oh, Laja, I'm very sorry. I was a bit distracted as he's clutching his holy symbol to his chest. Uh, I apologize. Is there a? Oh, I just thought of this. We have to go see Valaine in Goodmead, so we can finally end this threat of the Frost Maiden for good.
Well, we do need to do that. However, I got some bad news that the speaker from Targos is calling an emergency election. Remember how those thugs kind of alluded to an election being held here, Rorgar?
I think so. Yes.
Well, it appears that's true, and he's kind of made it almost impossible for Speaker Shane to remain in control of Bryn Shander. So a lot of the people from Targos are in town now. The archaic laws are in place, so basically all of the Targos, constituents can place a vote for their own speaker here. He has his own militia here, and basically there's a really good chance that Speaker Shane's going to be ousted from power. And there also might be a trial by combat as an option, but apparently he's also a very accomplished fighter in his own right, and he also has a lot of people in his arsenal who could fight for him. So there's a lot of not good stuff to unpack here.
Yes, this is very confusing. In Neverwinter, you just register to vote. You have to prove you live there. There's lots of talk of fake votes and people cheating.
Yeah,
It seems much more simple in Neverwinter.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a little different here, apparently. I think we might need to talk to Speaker Shane and just let her know I'm sure she knows ballots are already being passed out. I'm sure she's not too pleased with what's happening right now.
We can at least see if there is any way that we might be able to help her.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, Rorgar will get up out of his seat and definitely gives out one of those old man grunts as he stands up.
Been a hard campaign on poor Rogar.
This left knee is not as nice as it used to be.
Almost on cue, the door opens and walks in Speaker Shane. He looks even more flustered than normal. Several people nod to her as she enters. You know, she's pretty popular with most of the people that were originally from Bridgeshender. And she immediately catches the three of you at the table and she walks over to you.
Does this mean I did not have to stand up? And he actually makes the same grunting noise when he sits back down.
And
Speaker, it's good to see you.
she puts her hand on Rogar's shoulder and she says, "My friend, you should take a rest. We've booked accommodations for you here. You look very weary."
Yes, I will take that under advisement. Is Suzanne outside with you?
Yes, she is. She tried to follow me in, but then she saw your friend, the mechanical one, and she took off after him.
Whoa. I have just taken a heavy blow to the head. You have just reminded me of something else that is very strange to me. But it is not the priority. Speaker, I believe Virian has some information for you.
Speaker, we unfortunately were assaulted in just outside of the square, the town square, and we heard about this election that's been called. I'm sure you're aware of it.
Yes, the fires from the dragon's attack weren't even put out before I heard that Max Lunar wanted an emergency election.
Is there any way we can help? You know, do we canvassing door to door? We'll do anything. Print buttons, wear T-shirts. If you have a phone bank or anything, we'd be happy to, donate our time.
I've heard
I'm not-
robocalls are very effective.
I don't know what all of those things mean. I'll be honest.
And she says, "No, I don't think even abused puppies will be able to win this election for me because Maxildinar has leverage on most of the inhabitants or the old occupants of Targos now, Bryn Shander. They all owe him in some way. And then, of course, those that are on the fence are intimidated by him and his goons. I don't think I have a chance in an actual election, which is why I came here, because there's really only one choice left. Well, two choices left for me that I can see. The first is that I concede or I lose and he takes over Bryn Shander as the speaker. Or the second is I fight. There's a clause in the old Tin Town laws that's, well, it's back from the days when the early inhabitants of the Tin Towns lived on the Ragged Glacier, and when someone wanted to be chief of the tribe, they could challenge the other chief to combat. And in mortal combat, the one that survived became the speaker. And that law still stands for the Tin Towns. It's never been invoked, but that is the only other choice that I can see.
Is this a fight to the death?
It is indeed.
Are you at all skilled with a blade?
And as you say that, you take a look at Shane, and describing her again, she's a smaller human female. She's probably in her early 20s. She has a dagger that she's carrying at her belt, but the dagger looks like it's mostly for decoration. And you can tell, Rogar, especially with your time working with militias and training people, especially civilians, she's not a fighter.
I'm gonna guess no, Rorgar.
She says, "I can pick a champion to fight for me, but I don't know. It's a big ask for someone to risk their life."
Does it have to be one-on-one combat?
Yes.
So no tag team rules. Understood. Well, I think if someone was to fight for you, it would make sense if it was me or my friend Guardian. He's not here, so I can't speak for him.
He is full of rage.
Do you know when the, I guess, battle would be?
The election results will be finalized tomorrow morning, so before that happens, in the town square, I can call for the battle, or for the trial by combat. It will be held immediately, with no delay.
Guardian does seem to want to kill somebody.
I think he could be easily convinced to kill someone trying to do something not on the level here.
It's hard to ask someone to risk their life for me when they don't know me, but
Speaker, before you even finish that sentence, us four, none of us are from here. We've already stood in the line of fire, and we were prepared to give our lives today for the people of the city.
and she says, the worst is I don't know who he's going to select, or if it's even going to be him himself. So not only am I asking someone to put their life on the line, they won't even know their opponent until then. It's a big ask.
Let us find our friend Guardian and see what he thinks.
By the rules of the combat, my stand-in has to volunteer. I can't select someone like he can, but I will ask your friend if he would take my place.
Yes, and if he does not, I will. I just need to. I need some rest before I can fight anyone again.
Yes, and nothing will happen before tomorrow morning anyway. At least I hope not. You should all rest. You've definitely earned it.
Are you okay if I leave Suzanne as your protector, at least for now? I do not trust this Maxwell Dolnard one bit.
Sure, she's been very good at clearing the way for me as I make my way through town.
You just have to remember that she likes scratches under the neck every once in a while, and if you can feed her very large rats.
I don't know if I will be scratching under her neck, but there are plenty of things that I could feed her. Most of them come from Targos.
No chocolate.
Indeed, no chocolate.
It is bad for the digestion.
And she says, I will go and find your friend and make my case to him. Thank you for considering my request. It's, like I said, it's a situation I'd rather not be in, but I'm kind of forced to at this point. And she gives like a little nod and she turns to walk away. And at this point, Ned has brought all of you drinks and everything, and probably a bunch of. It's probably just really a stack of baked bread. Is what he's brought over. It's hot, smells good.
I think Rorgar, now that he's 51 instead of 21 realizes that he's a lightweight, so he just slowly sips one of the alcoholic beverages.
Behind you, there's a human who slowly makes his way over. You notice him first, Rorgar, and he moves around the table and slowly approaches you all. You can tell he's definitely human. He has darker brownish skin. He has a beard that looks very unkempt. He looks kind of not well put together. Like his clothes are very ragged. His furs look like they're thrown together from several different jackets. But he makes his way over to you and he says, "Oh, my friends, have you considered putting a bet into the ring?"
Wait, there. Oh yes, Lasha was telling me about this ring. Uh, there are fights going on now. So
Oh,
soon
wow.
after the attack on the town.
Oh, well, sorry. Forgive my rudeness. I didn't realize you were new. Let me introduce myself. My name is Joseph McCracken. I am a spectator of sorts of the pugilistic games that happen here, and let me tell you, even if the dragon brought down the roof of this establishment, there would still be those like myself who like to partake in the festivities, if you will. We're not dead, so why should we act like it?
Hear, hear.
I have to be honest with you, Mr. McCracken. I have recently fallen upon some hard times, and no, wait, I do have money. That's right, Bahamut blessed me. May I watch one of these fights before I partake in any gambling?
Of course, you may watch, but we don't have anyone to challenge any of the contenders.
Oh, were you hoping that we would volunteer? Because I am in no shape to fight anyone.
Well, you all seem very capable and very fit. It does require two to fight, though, and none of the contestants or the contenders are willing to fight each other at this point.
Honestly, I have had enough of my share of fighting thus far today, but maybe later I might be feeling up to it. With the whole dragon excitement, I think I am good for now at least.
And what about you, my skinny friend? He says to you, Virion.
Well, who's fighting currently that's looking for an opponent?
Well, let's see. We've got a few here. There's Old Man Stanley, which I think you could probably beat if you just pushed him. There's Hisser, the kobold. She's a little hard to get a hold of. A lot of people have had trouble with her in the past. And then, of course, there's Red Fist, the giant Goliath, named Red Fist because, well, most people that leave the ring leave so because of his fists that are red with their blood. And then, of course, there's the reigning champion, the dwarven lady from Battlehammer Hold, Estrid. She is undefeated. I would not recommend you take her on. She would, well, especially in your current state, he looks to you, Rorgar, for your health, I want you to have a shot in winning. I would recommend someone like Old Man Stanley. Should be pretty easy.
I would honestly love to see that old man with the axe at the bar. His name's Scython. I would love to see him take down Old Man Stanley. Two old timers going toe to toe. That's what the people want.
Let's see. I'll put 100 gold on those odds.
I'll put 30 gold on Scython taking down Old Man Stanley.
All right. I'll see your 30. If Stanley wins, I'll take the pot. If Scython wins, you'll take the pot.
Deal.
You just gotta persuade your friend to meet Stanley in the ring.
No problem.
I was about to say that we did not ask Scython if he would fight for us.
Scython does what I tell him to do.
Varian makes choices.
Scython, you got a couple minutes to spare?
Oh, my friend, for you, whatever you need. Don't have much. Lost my car in East Haven, but let's see here. I got my. You want my hat? I got my trusty axe here. Anything you need.
I just need that willingness to please, Scython. If you can help me out in the back room for a few rounds, there's an old man that I need you to absolutely beat the piss out of.
Oh goodness, I don't know if I can hurt anybody. What's he done?
He's too precious. He's a bad guy. He's set several pet shelters on fire. Just overall bad. He also said that your wood sucks.
Now, I can understand a man that has a different opinion than me on the fine qualities of wood, but you go hurting an innocent animal, and I just got no place for you.
That's and he enjoys hurting the animals, Scython. So I really think you need to show him what's what.
That just grinds my axe. I'm glad you told me, because I just got no place in this world for hurting innocent animals.
Well, then it's time to show him that he needs to stop this lunacy.
And Scython, he raises his axe actually from the corner of the bar, or like from underneath the bar where he'd rested it, and he says, "All right, I think 2 or 3 swings on this man's face will handle this problem real good."
I think it's hand-to-hand combat, but if you can pull an axe in there, then I think you should do it.
Oh, sir, you told me if he's hurting an innocent animal, this creature don't need to be walking the earth anymore.
Oh, God. Yep, that's what he's doing.
You see in that back room over there? What's he look like?
I haven't been back there, but his name is Old Man Stanley.
All right, Old Man Stanley. All right, I'm going to handle this for you, my friend. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. I'm so glad I could help you. Let's see here. Probably make quick work of him. Could you meet me in the back and we can get rid of the body?
Yeah, no problem.
All right, my friend. Anything I can do to help? Let's see here. How am I going to do this? I could maybe sneak from the rafters and drop down on his head. That's how I handled that one guy before. Excuse me, my friend. I'm going to work this out. Thank you for bringing this to my attention.
All right, I'll meet you back there, and I'll point him out.
Thanks, sir. And Scython, he's kind of limping as he's following you.
No.
So Mr. McCracken, are these fights just until someone surrenders, or?
Oh, well, you see, we have some pretty clear fighting rules here. A match is 5 rounds. It's fist to fist. No feet, no knees, no elbows, strictly. And we judge the rounds based on the more worthy opponent will win the round. Of course, a knockout is an instant victory for the one who did it. And at the end of 5 rounds, the victor for 3 out of 5 is the one that wins.
Now, are these fights anything like the ones in Neverwinter, where everyone wears crazy outfits, they do crazy flips off of the turnbuckles, and my friends say it's all fake, but I insist that it's real?
Oh, it's just like that, but I assure you, it is very real.
It is real, and Rogar's winking a lot.
Well, it looks like your friend here got his companion to weigh in on the fight. Do you perchance want to place a wager for either of the or?
I think I will just watch. so I can understand what this fighting looks like.
All right, very good. I guess while Virion is pointing out Stanley for murder, we're going to actually transition to Guardian and Speaker Shane. So, Guardian, you have been outside helping lift debris up to find survivors?
Trying to find survivors, pulling up bodies, whatever I can do.
So, you probably would have had to start to head back to the north part of town. You've probably been distracted here and there by people who are injured asking you for help, mostly to help them, carry things or move things. But you haven't gotten too far when you hear from behind you Speaker Shane calling you. And she says, "My friend, if I could have a moment of your time, please."
He just sighs or like, actually, just to the point.
Well, the situation here, the political situation here in Bryn Shander has gotten much more complicated. And Speaker Maxwell Dinar from Targos has managed to arrange a majority by relocating most of his people here and invoked a clause in our laws to trigger an emergency re-election. And I'm not sure that I have the majority to win.
What do you need me to do?
I plan on invoking the trial by combat in order to hold my speakership. But the problem is I am no fighter. I need someone to fight for me.
Is this you asking?
I have been told by your friends that you are a very capable warrior, and yes, I could use your help. This is me asking you. You should know, though, it's a fight to the death, and I don't know who the speaker will be choosing. He makes that decision in the moment once I challenge him.
Fine.
Would you be willing to do that?
That's why I said fine.
Oh. Okay. I was expecting to have to convince you. I wasn't sure. Okay. It will be first light in the morning. Before the election results are read, I will challenge him, and then the trial will happen.
Okay.
It's a difficult thing asking you to take the life of someone you may not even know. I greatly appreciate it.
He just nods like, I'm going to continue helping the people here.
She says, "Well, if you could use some help, I'd be glad to help. I directed everyone where they need to go for the night. I certainly won't be able to get any sleep."
Well, if you can lift stuff, you're useful. If you can't, go get sleep.
Well, I can't lift too much, but I have a companion who can. And that's when you feel a pretty heavy push on your back, Guardian, and you see Suzanne, who had been following behind Shane the whole time.
Alright. Anything else? Or can I get back to helping people?
No, I won't keep you.
Then till tomorrow.
And she nods and walks with you as Suzanne also keeps up. But we'll move back to what's going on here in the arena. So, Rorgar, you moved your token over. Were you also going to see what was going on here?
Yeah, Rorgar's just watching the fight.
All right. So, Virion, you were looking for Old Man Stanley, but it's pretty obvious with the nickname Old Man, the person they're talking to, or at least the person they're talking about, As you walked into the back room, you see a very old looking human. He's probably in his 60s, perhaps in his 70s, which is very old in Forgotten Realms. He is balding, has kind of white hair. He's a little overweight. He's wearing pretty crude clothing. He's got like his tunic cut off at the sleeves, on both sleeves. And he has lots of very strange, very crude tattoos on his arms that he probably gave himself, honestly. But as you walk past him, he gives you a smile, and you notice that many of his teeth are missing. And he says, hello, friend. Good day to you. Good to see you. Hope you are well.
I take it your old man Stanley?
That's me. Don't like the nickname, but my name is Stanley. Yep.
Oh, sorry, Stanley. Just I need to know something before some events take place here. Have you ever burned down or committed any animal cruelty in your life?
No. I don't even eat meat. I'd like
God.
to consider myself a vegetarian.
All right, that is maybe the worst possible thing you could have told me. All right, I need to I will talk to you shortly.
All right, friend. Don't be a stranger.
And Virion will run to cut off Scython. And just kind of Scython. Look, I had some bad information. Apparently Stanley is not an animal abuser. But he still wants to fight you.
Huh. Well, sir, I'm glad that you told me that, because I had a whole operation ready to spring into motion to help rid you with this problem. He still wants to fight me, though, huh?
What do you say for old time's sake? You think you could take this guy down for me?
So you said he is not he does not partake in cruelty to animals. Is that correct?
He said he doesn't. I don't know, what he does or doesn't do. I don't think a lot of people would admit to being cruel to animals to a stranger they just met. I can't verify it 100%, but from what he's told me, he's a vegetarian.
Well, I can't say that I have too much of a problem with this person, but if you tell me I should fight him, I trust you.
I think it would be best if you fought him.
All right. Am I killing him?
Honestly, I have not heard the rules from anybody. I see the rules, but I don't know if I know them. Let me get some more information real quick. Say Stanley, you look like you've fought here a couple times before. Can you just give me a quick rundown of the rules here?
Yep. We fight using fists, and we go 5 rounds, and the one that does the best fighting is the one that wins. If you get knocked out, then you're out.
All right, sounds simple enough. Thank you for your time. And Virion will trudge back over to Scython and relay all the fighting rules that he's just learned.
And Scython says, all right, if you think it needs to be done, my friend, I will take care of this pure problem for you. You've always been there for me. Good, solid friend. Do whatever I can for you.
And I'll be in the corner for you as long as you need me there, Scython.
And he puts his axe down, and he takes his hat off, and you see underneath his hat, he has absolutely no hair except for one single hair at the top of his head.
Oh my god. You got this, buddy.
Okay, now is the point where any of you, if you'd like, could bet for or against Stanley, or for or against Scython, however much you'd like. The way that it works, we're not going to play odds. It'll just be simply the amount of money that everyone puts in as a pot, and then whoever wins, we split the pot.
I'm Virian's gonna keep his 30 gold on Scython.
Okay. So currently there's 60 gold in total. McCracken puts in 30 for Stanley.
I think I'm just gonna let this happen. You know, I'm not gonna bet. I'm just gonna see what goes down.
So I found these very fancy rules for y'all to engage here in this combat with NPCs, and then you pick an NPC that I don't have any stats for, and that is Scython. So here's what we're gonna do: we're just gonna roll d20s. That just seems the only fair way to make it happen. So you roll. We'll do 5 rounds and just see what happens. So Virian, if you can roll for Scython, I'll roll for Stanley, and we'll just talk through it. So first of all, just give me a d20 roll.
You got it.
Oh, a tie. All right. So what happens is Stanley and Scython size each other up, and they look like they might actually be the same age, or Scython might actually be a bit older than Stanley. But Stanley kind of walks up, gives a smile, and kind of, tries to play to the crowd a little bit. But then Scython just launches himself fully aggressive at Stanley. I mean, like totally old man, like launches at the guy. And at first, gets a good few hits at Stanley, but then Stanley like pushes him down and swipes back. So there's no real winner this round. All right, let's go again.
All right. Oh no.
So I think Stanley comes alive in the second round. And as Scython tries to get up, Stanley lands lots of hits across his face.
Don't like that.
And let's do it.
Laja, I don't believe I enjoy this as entertainment. I think I will just go to bed.
Oh god.
I just want to make sure that at least if people are fighting, that everybody's okay at the end. But you are welcome to go to bed, Rogar.
Yeah, Rogar leaves before the third round.
Laja is very worried in the corner, like visibly very worried at these old men fighting.
Let's say that I should have said this beforehand. If somebody rolls a 20, that's a knockout. I think that's pretty obvious. But the 19 here, I say that Stanley just attacks Scython. Like Scython goes to get up, and Stanley hits him hard in the face, and Scython goes down, but he manages to pick himself up. There's a little stream of blood coming out of the side of his mouth from that last hit.
Scython, you got this, Scython. You can take this guy.
So we go 5 rounds. We've gone so we go 5 rounds already. We've gone 3. So what needs to happen is if Stanley wins the next round, that'll be the 4th round. The only way Scython can win would be to knock him out in the 5th round.
Okay.
All right. So Scython, actually the only way Scython can win at this point is still a knockout, but we'd have one more round. So if Scython wins the next round, then he would win.
Okay.
But what happens is Scython springs back to life. I think he takes a look at you, Virian, and he says, "I got you, buddy. I ain't gonna let you down." And he comes back up, and as Stanley was turning his head to kind of cheer to the ground, Scython comes up and lays a good punch right across Stanley's chin, and Stanley spins back around, catches himself on the ropes, and comes back. So this is the round that's probably going to determine it right here.
All right. Let's see it. Inspiration. Inspiration.
Okay, you can go for it, sure.
Come on. Oh.
Not enough. So Stanley comes back off the ropes and does like a clothesline of Scython, and Scython falls to the ground. And then off in the corner, Dead Ned rings a bell and he says, "Winner goes to Stanley."
I'm gonna jump into the ring and just tend to Scython as best as I can, and just reassure him, like, Scython, you did so good in there. I really thought you had him up against the ropes on that in that 4th round.
And you notice tears in Scython's eyes, and he says, "I'm so sorry, buddy. I let you down. I don't know what to say. I'm ashamed of myself."
Scython, you have nothing to be ashamed of. You did a good thing here today. It'll only make you stronger. From our failures, we grow and we learn. And I think today you've really shown what you can do, even at, an advanced age, mind you. So we're all very proud of you, and I'm gonna slide him 3 gold pieces.
And he takes him, looks at him, and he says, I'm so sorry, my friend. It's been a hard few weeks for Scython, I got to say, and if you don't mind, I'm gonna go have a drink and try to rethink my life here.
I'll
fair.
go and buy you one. It hopefully you're okay. Do you have any wounds that you need tended to?
Oh no, fancy lady, only wounds are to my spirit. I don't know if you can help there.
The only cure for a hurt spirit is to drink some spirits.
Well, yes, sir. I finished my. And he pulls his flask out. And the sad thing is, I took my last drop of my good mead, honey mead. I hear it's the last year they ever produce any, but I tried to save it, but I couldn't.
I hear good meat is gonna be turning things around pretty soon. So, hopefully they keep producing.
Oh yes, that would be nice indeed. McCracken makes his way to the arena, and he draws your attention, Varian, and he says, "Well, my friend, it appears Lady Luck is not on your side tonight. That'll be 30 gold, please."
All right, a deal's a deal. And I'll toss him over the 30 gold.
Your man got a few good hits in there. Can't say that I was too surprised that Stanley was going to win, but maybe next time. Better luck next time.
Oh, Scython's going to be hitting the gym, don't you worry. He's spry and wily.
I was hoping for a little bit more action. Maybe someone could take on Hisser or Red Fist maybe one day. He's looking at you, Varian, as he's saying that.
I think our pride is we're humbled enough for one evening here.
He raises his hands. All right. Well, good show, at least sort of a show. Watching the 2 geriatrics here have a good fight. Brought in some good money. That's the best I could hope for tonight, I suppose. I wish you good night. And he walks away.
Well, let's get you that drink, Scython.
So there's not much more excitement probably planned for tonight. Were you all going to bed down at some point here in the inn?
Yeah.
And what about you, Guardian?
Probably would search until like 7-8 hours before whatever the morning is.
Okay.
So you get some rest.
Well, the good thing, Guardian, too, is in 4 more hours, your madness actually fades away because you were the first one at 20 hours.
Fair.
So your madness from seeing Oral has gone. We can probably move to the morning here.
So we get our long rest.
You do, and I think, Varian, for the first time in a long time, you get a nice good night's rest. Maybe a little bit of guilt about Scython, but nothing to keep you up.
The first long rest in I can't even remember how many days negates how bad I feel about Scython.
Or maybe the dreams are actually worse.
That's also possible.
So yeah, everybody could fill back up. We'll start back over the next day at, let's say, 8. So that would give you all just about I'd say a good long rest, probably like 16 hours even of rest here.
My big question is Guardian ever going to tell me that he's properly cursed? Or is or is this just gonna keep going on?
Oh, well, Rogar knows something's up. Everyone just knows Guardians gain more and more anger at folks, and kind of been enjoying hurting folks.
Yeah, he did use excessive force and cleave someone's head off using the chain. I think that was in front of everybody.
Yeah. And he laughed.
But maybe that's like an insight check kind of thing.
I think with Guardian's behavior the way it's been, you probably all have noticed a bit darker side of Guardian lately, especially coming out of Battlehammer Hold. He's gotten a little more violent.
I suppose if we all get up in the morning and I'm assuming Guardian will sit there with us. And we can just have some conversation at the table. Um I Are you feeling completely okay? I noticed you were out rather late earlier, and before that, you got very upset at the bishop. Is everything
Question
all
for you,
right?
Jam. How many people, alive or dead, did I pull out of Rebel?
How many do you think? I'll leave it up to you.
Guardian strong, 18 strength, doesn't slow down. I don't know what's a good number.
Let's say you helped about 20 people.
And how many did I recover?
Like dead folks, probably just as many.
Guardian just looks at the table and just taps it a few times with his finger. Found 20 injured, and about the same dead.
That doesn't necessarily answer my question.
No, I told you before I was going to give you a number.
I'm not sure I'm following.
Leaving the bishop. I told you I was going to give you a number of how many I find alive and dead.
That weapon you use now, Guardian.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since you found it, you seem to be more vicious. I know before you would cut people's head off, but there seemed to be some order in that. You haven't done that since.
Maybe it's interacting with what you call civilization.
I don't call this civilization. I'm from Neverwinter.
I've seen more annoyances and people doing what they want to do because there's laws to protect them, or they know how to skirt the system, or we have to play nice. Maybe I'm just not wanting to do that anymore.
And I haven't asked you about this, but what are you? I always thought you were a person under there, some sort of human or elf or someone wearing heavy armor. But you are not that.
He looks at his arm. Most of the armor was stripped off when he shoved his arm into the Chardalyn Dragon. But now, after his rest, most of it's come back, but it's been replaced with bark and wood and vines. He just looks at it and he makes a fist. And he's like, I never told you what I was or what I wasn't. You just assumed.
That is true. I did assume. Uh, Fair enough.
I'm gonna be killing someone today.
Yes. If not you, I would gladly step up. I was not in the right frame of mind yesterday to volunteer. Sorry.
And the door to the inn opens and actually walks in this Sheriff Southwell. And he comes in, he looks at everybody. Most people give him a glance, and he makes his way over to your group. And he says, he kind of gives you a look, Guardian, but sort of turns away almost if to just ignore you. He says, I hope you all rested well. We worked through the night to pull out survivors. The grim duty, but I am first here to check on you to see how you are. I trust you were able to sleep and got a good meal.
Yes, thank you for arranging for these accommodations.
Did you know old men wrestle here?
Yes, I did. It's not strictly speaking illegal. It's not something I condone, but seeing as how Ned follows guidelines set by the speaker, and I can't fault him or charge him so long as he follows procedure, which he has so far. I have to turn away from it, unfortunately, but I don't like it. No.
They oil up before the fights. It is. I would rather face 100 mechanical dragons than see that again.
I would watch that over the fighting again.
Pardon me, sir, and he says this to you, Rogar, but in your advanced age, who are you referring to as old?
I know I look a little older, but I am only 21 years old, friend.
Yes, I had an aunt like that who stayed 21 for quite a while.
Really? Was she able to reverse the aging process on the appearance?
No, despite her many attempts, she was not able to stop time.
Well, it's fine.
And he says, oh, well, also the other reason I'm here, and he pulls out 4 slivers of paper, and he says, just among the rules for the election, I don't know if you heard, we're having an emergency election, but the 4 of you, having spent the night here, legally count as possible voters in this election. So if you'd like to vote, he passes down he puts the paper like on the table, and he says, you're welcome to. I will collect the votes and turn them in myself. There are 2 candidates, Speaker Max Soldinar and Speaker Shane. The election results will be read out this morning.
While they've been talking, I thought of something to do that will help us with our guardian situation, because I feel like Laja would be suspicious but not actually know like if this is a guardian thing. So she's gonna take out her little prayer book, and I'm going to use it to. I'm gonna cast augury, and I'm gonna just look, like, leaf through, I guess, and see if I can get the answer to the question of w- would I be able to heal Guardian to make him feel better? And that's going to be the exact question, and you can decide what to do with that.
Ooh, I get to make a secret roll. How nice.
Well, that's if I cast it more.
Wheel for good results, woe for bad results, wheel and woe for both good and bad results.
Yes.
Okay.
Or nothing. If you just want to mess with me.
So what is the question that you're hoping to find an answer to?
Would I be able to heal Guardian to make him feel better?
So in your prayer book, you turn over a page that talks. So I guess it's like a random prayer book, and you turn to a page, and you immediately get from this page. Let's say it's a symbol of like a fountain, and someone like a lady pulling a cup from the fountain, and that's the symbol of healing. So you know that from that you feel that you can heal. You can heal Guardian. But immediately as you start to kind of consider that, you take your hand off the prayer book, and the page turns to another page in the book, and what it shows is a dead forest. And you don't know exactly what that means, but you have a feeling that you can heal him for now. But this is the direction that Guardian's going. The dead forest.
I don't like that. But I will close my book and put it away and just listen to the end of the conversation.
Are we able to write in a candidate if we do not like either of the choices?
You can, of course. Unfortunately, the way our voting system is set up, let's say a third-party candidate is essentially throwing your vote away, but you can write whatever you'd like.
So Rogar will just vote for Speaker Shane after considering writing down turd sandwich.
It is, of course, a majority that determines the win. So if you have a secret that has the majority of the people behind you, then of course, do as you will.
And where do we submit our votes?
He holds out a pouch and he says, "You may put your vote here. You have my word on my honor that it will be delivered correctly."
And now, what happens if the speaker invokes some sort of fight among champions in place of a vote?
That is, and he kind of stops for a minute. That's highly unprecedented. Do you mean it? I've never heard of that before.
Well, here's my vote.
I remember when we were assisting with the election over in Goodmead, hearing that was some sort of esoteric law that existed, but I don't think that would happen here, right?
I certainly hope not. I believe I remember reading something about it somewhere, but that would bypass the vote, and yeah, that I'm sure we have nothing to worry about there. Shane is a very well-liked speaker, and the law will decide who the speaker of Bryn Shander is. We can depend on that.
Absolutely. And I will, even though I know what's going to happen later, I will write up a vote for Speaker Shane and put it in the little bag that he had.
He looks to you, Guardian, and he says, "And you do have the right to cast a vote."
Just looks at him for a second and just slowly crushes the piece of parchment.
He says,
Uh,
"That's
I th- I think he just decided to abstain from the election.
so be it. That is your right." He
It
looks-
would be very unsightly for a speaker from another town to vote in this election, right?
True.
True.
Perhaps. However, all residents have the option of voting if they so desire.
And our friend here is the speaker of the town of Goodmead.
And kind of looks at you, Guardian, and shakes his head. I'm sure the town are glad to have you.
Yep.
And he says to you, Virion, would you like to cast a vote?
Of course. Virion will write Shane times 1,000 and fold it up neatly and hand it back to Sheriff Southwell.
Oh, I found the loophole.
I really thought you were going to write Scython.
He's the mayor of my dreams, that's for sure.
Rorgar, what's the loophole?
That you just multiply your vote.
Well, I mean, there's always magic. You could somehow turn the ballots into something else.
What spells do I have?
By the way, Rorgar's ballot, he probably didn't fully enter fill in the circle. So I don't know if it counts.
It didn't fill in the Scantron correctly. Yeah,
He didn't fully punch out the hole.
that happens. So Southwell motions for all of you to follow him because it's time to turn in the votes and announce the results of the election. Did y'all have anything else you wanted to do before then? Because he's kind of motioning for you to follow him. All right, we'll take silence as a let's go.
I think Rorgar will ask Sheriff Southwell, where have the dead been placed?
We have a spot north of town where we were burning the bodies along the wall before the dragon attack. We have put those that died here there as well. With the dead coming back to life, it seems the most prudent thing is to have a mass burning.
Yes, that makes sense. Yeah, Rorgar was going to go and spend time casting Gentle Repose as a ritual, but I guess if there's so many bodies, that won't actually make sense time-wise.
Garen's just gonna look out one of the windows of the inn and just mutter, Zol das vatir das mi. Zalusan grozul velen. Varian, you know that means, may you rest gently, may the next life be kind.
Virion will bow his head in respect then.
Southwell says, let's, if you don't mind, let's go. The town is assembled in the town square to read the results. This shouldn't take too long.
Absolutely. Lead the way.
Garen get up and just head on out.
And the sheriff leads you all to the town square, which you see as you're walking. Most of the town inhabitants are also kind of following in a congregation just around, this raised step that's been built towards the center of town square. The two candidates are standing on it, and people are just kind of circling around it. The mood that everyone has is pretty quiet. Most people aren't really chatting amongst themselves. the faces, as you can see, although most are covered in furs and stuff, people look a little weary, very tired. You can tell most people may not have slept much throughout the night or the last few days with everything. But the sheriff, as he's got your votes, he walks over and drops them into a box as someone, is counting the votes. And he walks back over to you, Laja, and he says, I don't, personally, between you and me, I don't see how Shane is going to win. It could be dark times for Bryn Shander ahead.
Well, I can only pray that, things go as we hope they do. And if not, then at least may the new speaker be guided towards good decisions.
Yes, I will say a prayer to Lathander as well. He can perhaps guide all of us through this situation. The lady who's been counting the votes, she finishes, like you are the last 3 votes, and she counts them, and she's got like a tally that she's keeping. She's doing this in public so everyone can see what she's doing, so it's going to be very hard for her to hide anything, which is probably why they're doing it that way. Maxwell Dinar stands off to the corner. You notice that he is wearing very fine clothes, very fine furs, and he's carrying a golden plated rapier at his waist. And Shane is wearing pretty much the clothes that she was wearing before. Her hair looks a little more frazzled. She looks a little more dirty. She's probably working through the night to help folks, like you saw. But as the lady stands up to deliver the vote results, Shane steps forward, and to no surprise to any of you, she says something to the effect of this. She says that the vote cannot be read because there is no way that it can be fair. The whole situation is not a situation where a fair election can be had. Many of the inhabitants of Bryn Shander have perished in the attack by the dragon, so she believes that the only way that justice can be served is by evoking the ancient trial of combat to determine the speaker of Bryn Shander. And right after that, she immediately says, "My champion is Guardian." She points to you, Guardian. "He will fight for me."
Huzzah!
And Maxwell Dinar says, "Is that true? Will you fight for her to the death?"
Guardian will stand up, pull out his maul, put it on the ground there, and just tilt his head, look at him like, "Yep."
And Maxwell Dinar has kind of a smile on his face, and he says, "You do understand that this is a fight to the death. It must be a fair fight between the two of you. Any interference will result in you forfeiting."
You see that tree right behind me? Do you understand that you continuing to jabber on is making it work twice as hard to make the oxygen you're breathing and stealing from it?
Maxwell Dinar says, "I can see that you are a man of action, so let's get this underway. And let's see, for my champion, I choose to fight for me to the death. I choose Sheriff Southwell." And there's a gasp in the crowd, and everyone, and Shane takes a step forward, and she's like, you can't pick him." And Max Linar says, "You are the one who invoked the trial of combat. I may pick whomever champion I like." And Southwell says, he kind of stands there for a minute, and his mouth is dropped, like he's totally surprised. And Max Linar says, if you choose to not fight for the speaker, then, well, you must. She has invoked the law which you have sworn to maintain, so you must fight her champion. And so Southwell steps forward. He takes his right arm, which was still in the sling. He takes it out of the sling. He reaches his left hand down. He draws his sword, and he stands out into the center of the square, and he motions to you, Guardian. He says, "Well, let's get this over with."
Guardian grabs the shaft of his maul, and you just hear it creaking as he's really squeezing it. He lifts it up. He's like, "Good.